Hello there my friends who are listening to Ebird Online, and we're gathered here today to talk about a young man. This young man has delusions of grandeur and he's taken every opportunity to cultivate eccentricities, in the vain hope that we won't realise he lacks both substance and talent. Who is it I speak of? Yes, that's right, you guessed it, it's Jibri. Jibri is this season's 90-day fiancé absolute fuckwit. Guys, thus far, he's the most annoying person on the franchise. And so, aside from the fact that he's terminally annoying, there are a few things that I thought I might want to share with you. Things I've noticed about his character. And so, number one is his aesthetic. He looks like the result of a transporter accident involving Flo Rida and the Spice Girls. And at number two are his future plans. Jibri wants to be a singer. However, his dreams of superstardom seem to be solely of the pipe variety. And then at number three we have the mystery of Jibril's age. He claims to be 28, but he doesn't look a day under 36. And then at number four we have lofty assertions. This chap deserves a Primetime Emmy Award for his description of himself as a singer. And finally, at number five, there's the issue of Jibri's attire. It's garish, it roughs up your retinas, and it renders Halloween entirely pointless. Guys, if you didn't realise, we're having roast Jibri for supper. I wasn't going to mention it, but he's really got my goat. So he was doing a live last week, and he was moaning about some of the comments he's been getting. And Auntie, Auntie from Auntie's advice, she said, well, maybe you should get a social media specialist to handle your comments because you're not really coming off that well at the moment. Guys, and then Jibri came all fresh-mouthed and said he wasn't interested in what she had to say and she should mind her own business. He was beyond disrespectful. And the truth be told, I didn't really care for his attitude. Jibri, don't worry about Auntie, she's fine and unbothered. But Ebird, on the other hand, is pretty pissed off. And as they always say, ye shall reap what ye sow. So guys, before I get right into my roast, please, if you haven't done so yet, consider subscribing to my channel. I'm usually nice and polite and as pure as the driven snow. So hit that notification bell if you want to catch the rest of my videos for this season. And also, as usual, please don't forget to smash that like button. And so, without further ado, I give you Jibri and his unfortunate fiancée, Miona. And so Jibri is 28 and he's from South Dakota. And when we first see him, he's driving around on his motorbike. But it doesn't take long for Jibri to start boo-hoo-hooing. And he lets us know, growing up, he really didn't fit in. It would seem nothing's changed. He says he's got loads and loads of tattoos, crazy hair, and his clothes look like he's from another planet. It took him quite a while to realise he was goofy and different. But it's okay, because apparently he adds a lot of colour to other people's lives. And he lets us know he's now okay with being goofy and wild, and he has a lot of energy, so what you gonna do about it? I'm going to rinse you, Jibri. That's what I'm going to do about it. So aside from his clothes scorching my retina, the next thing he decides to do is to sing for us. And unfortunately at the end of this, my eardrums are worse for wear. I'm in the rat race, chasing material. Damn, where my money go? Well, it's not on rent because Jibri still lives at home with his mum. And guys, even this early on, I can see that Jibri is going to be a chap who regularly assaults all five senses. But fear not, he's still talking about himself. He tells us he loves to create. He says whether it's fashion, art, music, and he's in a band called the Black Serbs. And he describes the music as space punk, which is a mixture of punk rock and hip hop. And so guys, I thought, space punk? I've never heard of that before. Neither has anybody. This absolute clown has created his own subgenre of music. Unfortunately, he's failed to promote that subgenre, so only he knows what it is. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the rest of his bandmates have got no clue what it's called either. And a very quick Google search lets me know that Space Punks is a sci-fi action game. It's a free-to-play online game, and here it is, guys. Well, at least I know where he got the inspiration for his attire from. And so one of Jibri's bandmates, David, took Jibri many moons ago to Serbia. And Jibri tells us he fell in love with the place, and he's now visited over 10 times. He tells us the food is amazing, the culture is amazing, and the women are gorgeous. And then 2.5 years ago, he was on tour with the band, and he met Miona, who he describes as his soulmate. She's a makeup artist from Serbia, and it wasn't long before the couple got engaged in Thailand. And so Jibri lets us know he left home at 17, and he went to LA. However, his Greyhound ticket was only valid for 5 days, so he was back before you knew it. No, but I don't know what happened, but he's back at home now, so who cares? Oh, right, yes, that's it. Because of COVID. Isn't everything because of COVID? He had no money and he had to move back home and in with his mum and stepdad Brian. He said he spent so much money on the K1 visa for Monica and travelling that he couldn't also afford to live as well. Oh, right, so not COVID then. Interesting. And we see Jibri at home with his mum and his stepdad, and they're all in the kitchen. Stepdad Brian says, what does she expect when she comes here? The Ebird can answer that, Brian. She expects not to go anywhere near South Dakota. She can expect to be mightily disappointed. And then Jibri says that she did want to go to LA, but he's explaining to her that South Dakota is a hidden gem. That's the problem with hidden gems, Jibri. Is that they're hidden. It's a major flaw in the plan. I kind of like my gems to be seen and known. And now for round 2 of the boo-hoo-hoo. He grew up in Rapid Falls, and he lets us know he was the only black person there. Do you not count your mum, Jibri? If you don't, it's only right you should let her know. But I gotta admit he still looks scarred by the experience, and I can somewhat relate because this was very similar to my upbringing as well. But his mum's still pondering on what Miona will think, and she said, I think when she gets here, she's going to pressure you to move. And her presence on social media, well, it looks like she'd like to live in Beverly Hills. Yeah, more like Miami to me, but let's not split hairs. Definitely not Rapid Falls. I think she'll make a rapid run from Rapid Falls. And so his mum said, how much money do you have saved to support Miona when she comes? Once again, the Ebird can answer that. The answer's none, because you'll be supporting her mum. Now get to it. You've got a wedding to pay for. And the patchwork silk pyjamas that I'll be wearing will cost a pretty penny, so get to saving. But Jibri decided to lie, and he said, don't worry about money. You know, I'm a hustler. I can sell anything. Jibri, you may be able to sell anything, but do you have anything to sell? That's a key function in selling, having something to sell. I'll wait. And don't say your music. But stepdad Brian tells him he's avoiding the question. And I'd like to tell you, Brian, that's because he's impoverished, destitute, flat broke, brassic link, poverty stricken. I think that's quite enough. I quite enjoyed myself there. But yeah, so he's bringing his girlfriend over from Serbia to live at his mum's house, and he has no money. She's going to be living the dream. But guys, what happens next sets the season up beautifully. His mum said, when she gets here, I want to read her the riot act and let her know what she needs to do to be a part of this household. I think we've got another Betty in the making. I'm just hoping they've got chickens outside for her to go and get the eggs every morning. And Jibri started laughing and just brushed it off. And you could tell that Brian's had his fill of Jibri over his lifetime. I believe when Jibri went to LA, Brian thought, sayonara, motherfucker. I'll see you every Thanksgiving and Christmas if I'm unlucky. And that's it. But oh no, Jibri comes bouncing back. And you can tell Brian's bristling because Jibri's not taking any of this seriously. And Brian tells production, you have 3 strong personalities in this house. And that's going to be nerve-wracking. And all I wonder to myself is, who are the 3? Are you counting yourself out, Brian? I think you must be. I think so. So yeah, there's going to be a fair few arguments, I think. Miona's going to come Veruca salting her way around that house. And Mama ain't going to like it. And so next time we catch up with this couple, we see Jibri attempting to mow the lawn. He lets us know this is one of the chores his parents have given him, but he doesn't know how to work the lawnmower. And he gives up after about, 20 seconds. Remember, Jibri, Google is your friend. Find out from Google how to use the lawnmower. So he quickly sledges off his responsibilities, like he always do, and decides to call Miona. He sits on the step and chats with her. She says that she's shopping, and he says don't buy any dresses, buy sweatpants and robes, as it's going to be cold. And she said, oh well, I think that we'll move somewhere warm before winter. We can spend some time with your family, and then we can move on when we get a bit of money together. And Jibri, who realises that his band costs money and doesn't make money, lets her know the longer we stay here, the more money we save. You know, we could even get married here, on the prairie. But Miona says absolutely not. I said I wanted a beach wedding, and you know I do. And Jibri said to production, we haven't discussed money at all, which is kind of stupid because most of the pressure's on my shoulders. So guys, remember just a few seconds ago when Jibri was telling us all he loves Serbia, he loves the women, he loves the culture. Guys, he doesn't even know the culture, because I'll tell you this, I'd say at least 80% of the time in Eastern Europe, the men go out to work, and the women, whilst they may work a little part-time job or whatever, the men are responsible for paying the bills. The men are providers. So if you're not planning on being a provider, I foresee trouble ahead. I really do. But he continues moaning to production, and he said, Miona's thinking of herself when she's thinking about this beach wedding. She hasn't considered what I want. She probably has, Jibri, but just like the rest of us, she doesn't give a fuck. And guys, this is getting ridiculous now. Jibri's trying to suggest that they need to compromise. She wants a beach wedding and he wants a wedding on the prairie. She's not thinking about what he wants. But Jibri, you don't want a wedding on the prairie. You want a cheap wedding. Wherever you can get the cheapest wedding, that's what you want. As Miona pointed out, you only get married once. I don't know, guys. Maybe they can compromise. Maybe they can have it on the banks of the Mississippi River. Guys, oh my god, I was just looking and look at this. You can actually get married on the Mississippi River. I think that's the perfect compromise. The river's actually quite nice. And so Jibri finishes up his conversation with Miona with a little bit of good old-fashioned gaslighting. I was waiting for it to rear its ugly head. And he said, do you love me enough to stay in South Dakota for 12 months? And she said, of course I love you, but what's that got to do with anything? If I wanted to live that lifestyle, I'd just stay here in Serbia with my parents. And with that, she made good her leave. I gotta go now. Bye. And Jibri attempted to assert himself by saying, yeah, well, we'll finish this conversation another time. But she'd already gone. Attempt failed. And so next time we catch up with Jibri, he's talking to his mum whilst he tidies a room. He's busy fixing together a clothes rail. Because nobody wants a wardrobe now, do they? And his mum comes in and she's got something on her mind. She said, I think I want to talk to Miona about the way she dresses. What she's showing on social media, i.e. a lot of skin and very revealing clothes, won't work for me. I don't want her walking around the house like it. And I understand what she's saying. She's probably worried about Brian's blood pressure. I think old Brian's going to get a right eyeful. And so his mum said, well, she just has to be respectful around the house. Oh dear, and Jibri's boo-hoo-hooing yet again. He speaks to production and says, I can't believe my mum. She's supposedly a feminist and she's trying to control what Miona wears. I just don't understand it. And then he deduces that it's just a test and his mum's trying to test Miona. Really, Jibri, a test? That says more about you than anybody else in this scenario. And then his mum said, I remember once when she was talking to you, she called you stupid. I hope she's not going to speak to me like that. And he said, well, you know, that's how Serbians are. They're very direct. I hope she won't speak to you like that. And his mum said, you hope? And he said, yeah, I just don't want to get in the middle of you two. And then she finished up by saying, I want to like her. We're a close family, and if you get married, I want us to stay a close family. And Jibri said, if we get married, you don't think I will? And she said, well, you have 90 days to decide. And that's where we leave things for this review. So what does the Ebird make to all of this? Well guys, Jibri is annoying for a whole myriad of reasons, and here are the main ones. Firstly, his delusions of grandeur. He said he's realised he adds a lot of colour to other people's lives. What? Oh my lord, listening to him is just a cruel and unusual punishment. TLC, what did we do to deserve this? You add colour to other people's lives? I sincerely doubt that. LA didn't have its outstretched arms around you. LA let you slink back off to South Dakota. You had to go hunting all the way to Serbia for a mate. That's not the mark of someone who lights up other people's lives. Most people, if they're on stage and they have a bit of a presence about them and they have an aesthetic, are fighting the girls off with a shitty stick. You're having to dangle a green card, a promise of a fantasy life in LA, and a beachside wedding to lure someone into your trap. The next annoying thing is the fact that even though he thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, he has no money. He's bringing somebody over from another country to live in his country, and he has no way of supporting that human being. She's not going to be able to work, so if she wants money, she's going to have to ask him, and he's going to have to ask his mum. Guys, who does this? Who behaves like this? It's going to be so uncomfortable for her. And usually I would feel sorry for her, but I think it's more than clear she's coming just for the green card. And the truth be told, she's not even really hiding it. I mean, she may still love him as well. That's possible. But I think it's fair to suggest that the green card is the main event. And the next annoying thing about Jibri is his general attitude. When his parents were asking him, what are you going to live on? He said, don't worry, I'm a hustler. You're not a hustler. You're living in your mum's spare room, you little twonk. Honestly, I can't with this kid. I can't. Oh. Also, when his mum was saying, I hope that Miona dresses respectfully around the house, he said, oh gosh, yeah, well, we'll have to see, won't we? I hope so. No, we don't hope so. You will tell her that she's got to dress respectfully for your parents. He's really unbothered how anyone else feels. He just wants to ensure that he's with this girl who he thinks is super fit. That's literally all it comes down to. So yeah, that's it really. The internet's pretty much divided into two groups regarding Jibri. Those who dislike Jibri and Jibri. So guys, that's everything. Let me know what you think about Jibri and his girlfriend. Because this video was so long, I'm going to do a separate video for when she actually arrives. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, let me know if you think this boy is as annoying AF in comments down below. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Smash that like button if you've enjoyed this video. And I'll see you soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.